If you are 60 or older and you receive CPP, OAS, or GISO, or if you are planning to start receiving any of these in the next few years, there is something happening this July that you need to understand before it affects your account. And I am going to be direct with you about it because some of what I am about to say is genuinely bad news, not rumor, not speculation. Confirmed changes that are already in motion, that will affect real money in real accounts starting July 29th. But here is what makes this video different from the headlines you have probably already seen. The bad news is real. And there is specific bad news for people in 3 different situations. And the situation you are in determines exactly which part of this July update hurts you and which part helps you. Most coverage of this topic does not make that distinction. It treats everyone over 60 as one group. You are not one group, and what you need to do this week depends entirely on which situation is yours. Stay with me, because before this video ends, I am going to walk you through the bad news honestly, all of it, and then show you the one thing that thousands of people in each situation can do right now to limit the damage. And at the very end, I am going to show you something that is genuinely good news, something most people receiving CPP and OAS do not know is coming in July. That will make the bad news easier to absorb when you see the full picture. Subscribe right now and hit the bell. OAS payment amounts are reviewed each year in January, April, July, and October, and Service Canada does not send personal explanations when the July changes reduce your specific entitlement. Subscribe now. Now let me show you exactly what is changing on July 29th. Ambito hook number 2, and this is the number that sets up everything else. For the following period, July 2026 to June 2027, the clawback threshold based on 2025 income will be $93,454, with benefits completely paid back if your income exceeds $152,062, or $157,923 for 75 plus recipients. Ambito, that is the OAS recovery tax threshold for the coming year, $93,454. For every dollar of net income your 2025 tax return shows above that number, the CRA withholds 15 cents of your OAS. It is not a penalty. It is called a recovery tax, and it is calculated automatically using income you reported months ago and applied to your deposit starting July 29th without a separate notice. Most people reading that number think they are safely below it, and most of them are right about their regular income, CPP, pension, part-time work. What they are not accounting for is the income that was not regular. The RRSP or RRIF withdrawal they made in 2025, the GIC that matured and generated interest income, the property or investment they sold, any one-time income event that pushed their 2025 net income above $93,000, even temporarily, is already baked into the July 29th deposit calculation. The income was spent. The deposit reduction is only now arriving. Tell me in the comments right now, do you know what your 2025 net income was online, $23,600 of your tax return? And did you have any one-time income event last year that was higher than usual? Yes or no? Drop your province below. Hook number 3. Here's the bad news that almost nobody is talking about, and it is the one that affects the most people. Seniors whose income rose may see reduced GIS payments starting in July, or a complete loss of the supplement, depending on the size of the change. Late filers risk a temporary suspension of GIS benefits starting in July because the CRA cannot recalculate without a current tax return on file. Even seniors with zero income must file a return every year to maintain continuous GIS eligibility and avoid payment gaps. Ambito, the GIS, the Guaranteed Income Supplement, is recalculated every July. Not once a year at tax time, every July, starting with the July 29th deposit. And the recalculation uses one number, your 2025 net income on your tax return, to determine how much GIS you receive for the next 12 months. The GIS reduces by 50 cents for every dollar of income above the base threshold. Not 15 cents like the OAS clawback, 50 cents. That means a $10,000 RRIF withdrawal in 2025 reduces your GIS by $5,000 over the coming year, $416 per month less for 12 consecutive months. The money from that withdrawal was spent last year. The GIS reduction starts July 29th and runs until July 2027. And for the people who did not file their 2025 tax return by April 30th doors or who filed late and whose return has not yet been assessed, the situation is more immediate. Without a tax return on file, Service Canada has no income information to base the GIS renewal on. When they do not have that information, they do not estimate and keep paying. They stop the payment, starting July 29th, without a warning letter before it happens. Now, here are the 3 specific groups of people who are most affected by what is happening this July, and the bad news is different for each one. The first group is people who had higher income in 2025 than in 2024. This includes anyone who took a RRSP or RRIF withdrawal last year, sold a property or vehicle, received a pension payout or lump sum, or had any one-time income that was higher than usual. If you are in this group and you receive GIS, your July 29th deposit may be significantly lower than your June 26th deposit by anywhere from $100 to several $100 per month for 12 full months. The bad news is that the calculation is already complete. The 2025 return has been filed, the income has been assessed, and the GIS reduction has already been calculated. But here is what you can do. If your income in 2026 is lower than your income in 2025, because that one-time event is over and your regular income has returned to normal, there is a form that can restore some or all of the reduction before July 29th locks in the lower payment for 12 months. The Statement of Estimated Income Form, ISP-3041, allows seniors to request a GIS recalculation based on their estimated current year income. You fill in what you expect to earn in 2026. Service Canada uses that lower number instead of your 2025 income to calculate your GIS for the coming year. That form, ISP-3041, is free, available through my Service Canada account or by calling 1-800-277-9914, and it can be the difference between a 12-month GIS reduction and a July 29th deposit that reflects your actual current situation. The window to file it before July 29th is closing. If you are in this group, this is the most urgent action on this list. Ambito. The second group is people who have not yet filed their 2025 tax return. This is simpler and more immediate. Late filers risk a temporary suspension of GIS benefits starting in July. If your 2025 return is not filed and assessed before Service Canada processes the July renewal, your GIS does not get renewed. It stops. And the retroactive payment that eventually arrives when you do file is capped at 11 months, meaning every month beyond 11 that passes without the GIS being restored is money you can never recover. Ambito. If you are in this group, the action is the same regardless of anything else in this video. File your 2025 tax return today, even if your income is zero, even if you do not owe $1, even if you believe it makes no difference. It makes the difference between a July 29th GIS deposit and a July 29th deposit with no GIS attached. The CRA's Community Volunteer Income Tax Program, CVITP, prepares and files returns for free for low-income seniors. Call the CRA at 1-8009-598281 and ask where the nearest free tax clinic is. The third group is the one that is about to experience bad news, that has nothing to do with their income or their tax return, and everything to do with a conversation happening right now in Ottawa. A poll conducted from March 12th to March 14th, 2026, showed 73% of Canadians would support lowering the OAS income threshold for benefits. The founder of Generation Squeeze called on the federal government to modernize OAS by reducing benefits for retirees with household incomes exceeding $100,000. Ambito, the fix is simple. Begin reducing OAS subsidies for retired couples once household income exceeds $100,000. This responsible reform protects or improves benefits for 80% of recipients, while asking the top 20% to accept about $3,000 less per year. Ambito. This is not law yet, no legislation has passed, no announcement has been made, but the public support for OAS reform targeting higher income seniors is real, documented, and growing, and the Globe and Mail published an analysis this month calling it the unpopular but necessary measure to address Canada's fiscal trajectory. If you are a senior couple with combined household income above $100,000, the OAS benefit you currently receive may be under political scrutiny in a way it has not been before. That is not a threat for July 29th. It is a signal about where the system is heading, and it is one of the reasons knowing how to protect and shelter your income right now matters more than it did 3 years ago. Now here is the part most coverage of this July update is not showing you, and this part is genuinely good news. OAS benefits will increase by 1.2% for the July to September 2026 quarter, for an increase of 2.3% over the past year from July 2025 to July 2026. That is the largest single quarterly adjustment of 2026. As of July 1st, 2026, these amounts will increase by 1.2%. The maximum OAS for seniors aged 65 to 74 rises to $751.97. The maximum for seniors 75 and over rises to $827.17, and the GIS maximum rises by the same 1.2%, meaning that for seniors whose GIS is not being reduced by higher 2025 income, the July 29th deposit will be higher than the June 26th deposit, automatically, without any action required. Ámbito Tribuna de México. And for the people who are between 60 and 64 and whose spouse receives GISE, or for those who are widowed and between 60 and 64, there is a benefit that the July recalculation also affects that most people have never been told exists. Those who had a spouse or common law partner who died and haven't remarried can receive up to $1,680.47 per month if they qualify for the allowance for the survivor. $1,680.47 per month for eligible widowed Canadians aged 60 to 64. That increases with the same 1.2% quarterly adjustment. If you are in that group and have never applied, the July recalculation window is the exact moment your eligibility is being assessed for the coming year. Call Service Canada at 1-800-277-9914 and ask specifically about the allowance for the survivor before July 29th. Tribuna de México. Did you know that July 29th brings the largest quarterly OAS increase of the year at 1.2%, while simultaneously delivering GIS reductions for everyone whose 2025 income was higher than 2024, and a complete GIS suspension for anyone whose 2025 tax return has not yet been filed? Drop your answer below right now. I want to know how many people watching this understood all three of those things were happening on the same deposit date. 3 steps you can complete before July 29th. Step 1. If your 2025 income was higher than usual because of a RRSP or RRIF withdrawal, a property sale, or any one-time income event, and your 2026 income is back to normal, call Service Canada at 1-800-277-9914 today and ask specifically about filing form ISP-3041, the Statement of Estimated Income, before July 29th. That form can recalculate your GIS based on your lower 2026 income rather than your higher 2025 income, potentially restoring hundreds of dollars per month to your July 29th deposit before the 12-month lower payment locks in. Step 2. If you have not yet filed your 2025 tax return, file it today. Call the CRA at 1-800-959-8281 and ask about the Community Volunteer Income Tax Program for free filing assistance. Every day that passes without that return on file is a day closer to a July 29th deposit with no GIS, and every month beyond 11 that the suspension lasts is money you can never recover retroactively. Step 3. Share this video today with one person in your life who is between 60 and 74, receives CPP or OAS or GIS, and who does not know that July 29th is bringing a GIS recalculation based on their 2025 income. That person may have had a one-time RRIF withdrawal last year that they have already forgotten about, and that is about to reduce their monthly deposit by several $100s for 12 consecutive months. One share from you could get them to Service Canada before July 29th, changes the number they are counting on. One more thing before we close. Service Canada will never call you demanding action to protect your July deposit. They will never text you asking you to file a form by clicking a link. They will never ask for your social insurance number by email to prevent a GIS suspension. If you receive any contact like that, hang up immediately and call Service Canada directly at 1-800-277-9914. Real July payment changes happen through the official annual recalculation. They do not require you to respond to an urgent phone call from a stranger. What surprised you most in this video, Ciro, was at the 50 cent per dollar GIS reduction rate that means a $10,000 RRIF withdrawal costs $5,000 of GIS over 12 months, the ISP-3041 form that can reverse some of that reduction if your 2026 income is lower, the political momentum for OAS reform that is building around household incomes above $100,000, or the $1,680 monthly allowance for the survivor that eligible widowed Canadians aged 60 to 64 can apply for before July 29th. Drop your answer and your province in the comments right now. I read every single one. And if this video helped you, hit the like button right now. 1 second. It is the only way this reaches the next person who checks their account on July 29th and sees a number smaller than the one they were expecting. July 29th is one deposit date. 3 calculations happening simultaneously. A 1.2% increase for OAS that arrives automatically. A GIS recalculation based on 2025 income that may reduce your payment significantly if last year was higher than usual. And a complete GIS suspension if the 2025 tax return has not been filed and assessed before Service Canada runs the renewal. Which one of those 3 applies to you determines what you do this week. Now you know which one is yours, and you know the form number and the phone number that can change the outcome before July 29th arrives. I am Henry Jaden. Take care of yourself.